Excellent. Okay. Yeah. Now, man from New York is doing wants to do the narration and the clips today.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he heard we were doing vehicle travel stuff, so he wanted to.
He's
has
got a lot to say about that.
Hasn't narrated anything in a while, so let's let him give him a chance. They're 50s or 60s.
Something.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to another episode.
Wait a minute.
No. Hold on. Okay, easy. That's just the intro. It's take it easy.
Oh, sorry. I got excited.
It happens. Welcome to another episode of Drake and the Maestro, Almost Relevant. And today we're traveling. And we're doing it early.
Citizens?
We're doing it early.
We're not driving, we're traveling.
That's right. Traveling, officer.
Sorry. The traveling thing always gets me. We're traveling. I'm traveling, officer.
We're gonna put the Maestro to the test here with a couple of different driving scenarios, and hopefully we can learn something in time for the travel season, which will be happening later, Thanksgiving, Christmas, But we're doing it early, which makes us almost relevant.
Relevant. It could be. We could be too early. We could be too late. You don't know, but you'll find out.
That's right. And the man from New York, in case you guys don't know, a generation ago, maybe even 2 generations ago, he was narrating all those fun films that you would see, the government training films, the safety films, the travel logs.
Mother takes the pan from the oven.
Right. Ouch.
She has burned her hands. Yeah, that voice.
That guy. I'm trying to convince him to come
he's
out.
fallen on hard times, and he started doing covers of hip hop songs. But
that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get him out there doing his hip, and give that big boot. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, he stopped by, and he's going to be doing the narration and the drop-ins, if you will. Since we're doing vehicle safety, take it away, man from New York.
There is no doubt that the invention of the highway vehicle, as we know it, ranks as one of the greatest benefits to our modern civilization that the mind of man has ever devised. With the increase in vehicles and drivers has come an agonizing increase in the issuance of death certificates to victims of auto crashes. Out of this tremendous gift of mobility has come death, pain, bloodshed, grief.
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute.
You got a little dark there at the end there.
Holy crap! Maybe there's a reason why this guy isn't working. Okay, all right.
No kidding.
No, okay, he's ready. He's gonna go. He's gonna try again.
Go ahead.
Go again. All right, try again.
Safety belts are nothing new. They were first installed in cars around the turn of the century to keep motorists from bouncing out of open vehicles. Most of us don't object to wearing hard hats, safety shoes, protective goggles, and gloves when we work. We buckle up on an airliner. And at play, we think about our safety. Bright clothing when hunting, life preservers around water. But in your car, you throw caution to the wind.
No, wait a minute here. Hang on. You're going a little dark again.
Yeah, this is supposed to be light.
It's the holiday season. We're supposed to be light and happy. You're taking it, I don't know, man.
Well,
I can kind of see why you're not working in the industry as much as you used to.
Old habits die hard, I guess.
Well,
I thought we were going to get a nice little thing about seatbelts and then death.
No, death and destruction.
All right.
Maybe you know what? I think I figured out something for the man from New York to do. He can start naming hurricanes.
Oh, there you go. That's right.
He's into the destruction of the darkness now. Just let him start naming the hurricanes. Maybe we'll get something interesting.
And he could actually narrate the
right, and then he can narrate the hurricane as it goes across the coast.
Because it would sound like doom. We've got to get the music and everything, but it would work. All right. He says he's ready. Okay, he's going to try it one more time. More lighthearted, more fun. All right, so here we go.
Okay.
Welcome to Hazard County.
No, that's not going to work. either.
No,
I think we went
no.
too far the other way.
Too far the other way. Yeah, definitely too far the other way.
Them
I mean, it's
boys.
lighthearted at least.
It's very lighthearted.
Duke boys. I didn't know Porky Pig was here as well.
All right, I think we just better take over from here.
Yeah, no, I think we better just continue. We'll soldier on as best we can.
Yeah. Oh, he's all sad now. Oh well.
Well, you know, he can go get a doggy burger.
Right. All right. So here we go.
Okay.
Driving scenarios. Are you ready? I'm going to pose three different driving scenarios to the maestro, and he and I are both professional drivers. In fact, I was a trainer.
Some of us are more professional than others. We'll let the listeners decide on who's who.
Right. I still remember one training session I went into as the instructor, and I get up in front of the class. I introduce myself, and one of the people, you look familiar. Like, okay,
really?
Yeah, I got one of those faces. Like, no, you look really familiar. And then about 5 minutes into the lesson, the guy's, I know who you are.
Uh-oh.
You raced that car over there in the industrial plaza on weekends. Like, guilty as charged.
Possibly.
So who better teach you about safety?
That's right. I've seen it. You can't unsee it.
That's right.
Or something.
Back when street racing was street racing, none of this unload on a bunch of cars from a bunch of trailers.
Hang on, now you're gonna get it. Now you're going to other play. Let's get on with the game here.
Right. Okay. Driving scenarios. Okay. This is scenario 1. Right.
Okay.
Pulled right from the headlines.
Right from the headlines, even.
You're driving a minivan.
Okay.
Let's call it, I don't know, pick a minivan. What minivan you want to be driving?
I drove a Dodge Caravan for quite a while, so we'll go with that.
All right, so you got a Dodge Caravan, and you're following, you're on a 2-lane road.
Now, is that 2-lane divided or 2-lane?
No,
2-lane, one each direction.
Yeah, 2-lane highway,
Country road.
Lane
Okay, we're on a 2-lane country road.
One lane each direction, dotted line in the middle, sometimes.
Gotcha.
All right.
Sometimes, yeah.
You're following a tanker. Tanker's going kind of slow, as tankers are sometimes do.
Are one to do.
Right. I'm not going the 70 that you want to be traveling.
Right. What with the sloshing and the flammable materials, it's generally safer to go slower.
So you pull out, as you've done several times previously on the same road. Now, you're on a detour from the interstate. The interstate's closed and all the traffic's being routed on this 2-laner.
Off onto this road. So that's why the tanker's there.
Right. Everybody's there. Right?
Well, right. Everybody's there. And you're frustrated and want to get back to the interstate because your kids are screaming in the back and maybe you should have learned to pull out in a different sense, but that's not the point.
Okay. So you pull out, you're side by side with the tanker. Okay.
Huh.
And you're realizing that your rate of overtake versus the rate of closure from oncoming traffic the math doesn't work.
Is not kind of mathing anymore?
No, there's going to be a collision.
Uh-huh.
So you're side by side with the tanker. What do you do?
So you have two options.
By the way, you can ask questions to get more information if you want it.
You're side by side with the tanker. Traffic's closing in on you quite faster than you thought you could get past the tanker.
Right.
Basically, the traffic is closing on you faster than you can clear the tanker.
Critical piece of information. The tanker has let off. He's not braking, but he's let off the accelerator.
Throttle.
He's off the throttle.
Okay, but he's not braking. He's probably engine braking a little bit because he's seeing seeing that you're there,
right?
And that the car that's coming at both of you now is closing faster than you are going. Okay, so if he's off the throttle, I wouldn't know that as the minivan driver necessarily.
No, you would you would probably note that your rate of overtake is increasing.
It's starting to increase. Right. So that's what I was going to say. You probably start to notice that your rate, let's hammer down. You'll have two options. You have two options. If your rate of speed is increasing, then hammer down and get out in front. If it was decreasing or staying the same, it's slam on the brakes and duck in behind. Those are your only options. Well, other than going in the ditch. That's your third. I mean,
drive off the road would be...
Drive off the road, get out of the situation because You don't want to be there if you don't want to be the thing that causes the tanker to go boom.
Correct. So what are you doing?
Personally, accelerating.
Okay. Now this is
I'm recognizing that the tanker is.
It's a hypothetical, and I probably didn't set it up for you very well. But here's what the person did. The correct answer is brake and pulling behind the tanker.
Well,
because here's what happened: the rate of closure of traffic was so severe that the young lady, was a 17-year-old girl and her mother driving the minivan. And
probably
she
a lot
had
of screaming involved.
Yeah, there was, and she had a habit of ducking in at the last minute and making these really crazy passes. And her mother was yelling at her about it and telling her to stop and go back behind the tanker. Right?
That's important information.
I know.
It's important information that the mother is screaming to get behind the tanker, because if I'm driving and the passenger is saying get behind the tanker, I'm just going to do what the passenger says, because that's two brains. Because both options have gone through my head. I can accelerate or I can slow down. And if the passenger's saying slow down, okay, we're gonna hard hook, tuck in back behind the tanker, and wait for a more.
It's German.
Wait for a more opportune time to pass.
Yeah. Yeah, you know there's traffic everywhere because it's all the interstate bypass.
Right, the interstate's bypass. But if you want the real answer, the answer from the truck driver, I never would have passed the tanker in the first place.
Exactly. You just park it there and you go, you know what? I'm in this for the duration, and that's where
he's going the same place I'm going. Right. He's not going as fast as I want to go, but sometimes that's just how it is.
Right. Correct. You get 5 gold stars and a cookie for scenario number 1. But here's what happened. Here's the real
police gift shop.
Yes. Okay, you can cash in your Drake and the Maestro credits for that at the at the precinct gift shop.
Yeah.
Where you can also get the beverage of your choice. So here's what happened in the real world. This is really what happened. The girl hammer down, right? Full throttle, nails it, swerves to miss oncoming traffic last second, and goes on her merry way. But what she didn't realize was that she hadn't cleared the tanker. So as she comes across, the tanker runs onto the shoulder to avoid the collision.
Which the CDL school says never do that.
Rolls over and explodes, killing 2 people in oncoming traffic.
Because that's going to be big boom.
Right.
Depending on what the tanker's hauling.
Here's your bonus question for scenario 1. And I think you already answered it anyway. You're driving that tanker. What do you do?
I'm pit maneuvering that minivan. That minivan's about to go for a Nantucket sleigh ride.
Nantucket sleigh.
Okay, for listeners out there that don't know what a Nantucket sleigh ride is, that is from the late 1700s, early 1800s, when whaling was more prevalent. You'd hook they'd spear the whale and they'd tie the rope off to the deck to try to heave it in. And sometimes the whale had better ideas and would just book it down, out and down while they were in the whaling dinghy, and would just take them for a ride. And it would drag them across the ocean. So it's called a Nantucket sleigh ride. Nantucket's also a place in, I think, New Hampshire or one of those coastal states.
Yeah.
Connecticut, something like that.
No, that's right. I am not. I'm driving the tanker. I'm holding my lane. I'm slowing down best I can to be as safely as I can.
You're on the brakes. You're trying to make that gap happen.
Right, but you're also carrying a live load.
Right, you're also carrying the fluid in the tanker. If it's a non-baffled tanker, is going to what they call surge, going to slam forward and push you forward, even if you're on the brakes. I've personally watched tankers have to emergency brake and get shoved into the intersection from the surge.
Yes.
It's just you have thousands of gallons of fluid moving in one direction that now suddenly has to go to a different direction, and it doesn't want to.
I've hauled tanks, unbaffled tanks, And
yeah,
you can just come into a stop, and you're still the cab is still rocking back and forth. Back and forth. And I'm sure side to side. You made a quick jerk to the side, and you had that sideways surge and rolled them over.
It takes a very steady nerve to not jerk the wheel when you're driving a big truck, because it's human nature to want to avoid the collision, and it takes a certain kind of person to just go, all right, this is what we're doing.
Nerves of steel, buddy. Nerves of steel. It's pretty good for pretty good for a quadruped. Yeah,
that's right. Pretty good for a quadruped.
Don't drive angry.
All right, now we're doing Groundhog Day.
Yeah. All right. So, okay, but it gets worse.
So Jamie got big boom.
This young driver,
whippersnapper,
doesn't even realize. Okay, so how oblivious do you have to be
to notice the giant fireball exploding behind you?
Exactly. Just picture in your mind that there's a GoPro movie camera filming it from the hood, looking backward into the van, right? And so she makes this maneuver. The van runs off the road, rolls on its side. It just as oncoming traffic's going by the tanker, the tanker goes. There's a huge fireball, and she's made it through that one.
Well, that was close.
Yeah. She was so oblivious that the state police had to track her down in St. Louis. So
where did this I'm assuming that happened in Missouri then, if they
about 100 miles from St. Louis and in Illinois, near the interstate there. Yeah. That was just there's another safety tip. Maybe check the rearview mirror occasionally.
Occasionally, especially if you've just made a close pass on a country road, maybe you should check to make sure you haven't inadvertently clipped the person you were passing.
And it's important to keep watching that rearview mirror, as scenario 3 will illustrate. But now for scenario 2.
To add a personal touch to that story, I had something similar happen when I was heading down to your place from my place. Right south of town, there's an S curve, and I went through the S curve, and I come up over the hill, and there is a pickup truck passing a grain truck, and I am closing on him. He moved out to pass with me already in sight. I had to brake super hard to keep him from just causing a head-on collision. Or
good thing you got them similar scenario. 6-piston Willwoods.
Brembos, thank you.
Are they Brembo?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the brakes definitely came in handy, because it would not have been pretty if I couldn't have stopped, because he would have either hit me or done the exact same thing to that grain truck that girl was going to do.
And you know what now when I was teaching the Smith system, and I don't know if things have changed, it's been a while, but it used to be what they would tell you is that in a situation like that where there's someone oncoming in your lane, you are supposed to hold your lane.
Hold your lane. Hold your lane. No, they still teach that.
Do they?
It's in case drunk drivers or inattentive drivers, you hold your lane, because at the last second, 9 times out of 10, that driver will look up or wake up or realize whatever, and they'll jerk back the other direction into their lane. If you're swerving that direction, now you've just made the head-on collision a certainty. Right. It is, again, one of those things that takes a lot of mental fortitude to hold that lane when someone's coming right at you.
Right. So I drill a lot still mentally. I'm driving down 2-lane road. I got an oncoming track. I drill holding the lane mentally.
Oh, see, I don't have to drill. I just have no will to live. So it's just like, kill me. Do it. Do it.
Oh, sweet release.
Right.
The sting of hot lead. How I've missed you.
If you've ever seen the end of Sons of Anarchy where he just puts his arms out of the boat, that's exactly it. That's me on the road every day. Just take me down.
Well, they say you're not really ready to live until you're ready to die.
The man from New York certainly had an influence on me today.
Well, yeah. Oh, it's gone dark. Right. And to listeners, we're going to bring the funny. We're going to bring the funny. Okay.
One way or another, you're getting the funny.
Scenario 2. Okay.
All right.
You're driving. What do you want to be driving this time?
I don't know. What do you got?
A what? Well, how about cargo van?
Cargo van. Okay, so like a box truck?
Mobility van, because this happened to me.
Oh.
So what brought this on? So what brought this whole episode on and got me thinking about this was I made a road trip the other day, and
so we have a van, high center of gravity, prone to tipping over. Okay.
And you're going to same kind of 2-lane highway, but this 2-lane highway has you're in a valley. You're approaching a valley, so you're going downhill. And there's a creek and a bridge, and then you're going to be going uphill and then making a gentle long sweeping gradual right hand sweep of the road, which means you have intermittent visibility in the oncoming lane, and as it sweeps
it's either obscured or whatever.
Or it's a no passing zone or what. Yeah. And then as you slowly sweep right, if you're going to want to pass, the object that you're going to be passing is going to be blocking your oncoming vision.
Your vision for the oncoming lane.
Because the oncoming lane is actually, because the road sweeps to your right, the oncoming lane is drifting over and being obscured by the vehicle you're following.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's the scenario, and the vehicle we're following is, drum roll, an international harvester tractor pulling 2 grain wagons.
Okay, so we're gonna lock in behind it, and that's it.
You could. He's going standard tractor high gear, which is usually most tractors 20 to 25 miles an hour.
Yeah,
usually,
depending on the tires and.
The internationals we had would max out at like 22. That's it.
Yeah,
22 miles per hour.
The Deers are a little faster. The internationals are a little slower. It's just a thing.
So you're pulling the 2 grain wagons, and I'm just like, okay, I got no visibility, right? None.
Right. You can't see around him. He's very large.
I can see right up close, so I can see the oncoming lane just adjacent to the tractor and grain rig.
Right, but you have no long.
And the guy in the tractor, the guy in the tractor's got his hazards on. He's doing his best Craig Morgan impersonation, right?
Looking 5 miles an hour on my international harvester.
And so I'm right behind, and I am doing the Maestro scenario. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. This guy's just shuttling between fields because you can see.
He's probably not going far.
Right. So I'm just gonna park it here and fidget with the radio and see if there's something better I can listen to. Whatever. But as we discussed briefly in scenario 1, always be checking those rearview mirrors. Right.
Definitely looking in your mirrors.
Yeah, because in my review I see a little yellow and red speck that's quickly becoming larger. And as it comes into focus, and I'm looking back and forth, right? Because you don't want to fixate on any one point anywhere.
Yeah, if you fixate behind you, then you could miss something happening in front of you. Or
you develop as you fixate, you lose your peripheral vision, all kinds of stuff. So the Smith system always teaches keeping the eyes moving, and that way you don't get locked up into one thing.
Yeah, you don't get tunneled. The highway hypnosis, they call it.
Well, they call it many things, but sure.
Yeah, well, that's what it's referred to.
Yeah, now. Highway hypnosis is that's why interstates have bends in them every so many miles, because otherwise you just get going straight, driving straight, autopilot,
still going straight. 6 hours later, still going straight.
Right, and that's why interstates have bends in them every so many miles, so that it'll keep you alert, and if you're not, it'll take you off the road.
For some drivers, the bends don't matter, but that's not the point we're making today.
Yeah, well, that's
I'm just made it through the entire state of Pennsylvania without remembering.
Never happened. Well, at least I don't remember.
That's right.
I remember putting fuel in, and then I remember being in New Jersey. I don't know what happened in between. Not a mark on the truck, so it's fine.
Well, there's some kid in a minivan going, "What the hell?"
That's a whole nother problem with truckers from back in my day.
Back in my day,
two sets of logbooks, staying on duty so long, you see the black dog, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of Colombian nose powder, just keep you going.
I never did that, but
sure, not you, but just it was out there.
Little candy, yeah.
Little nose candy.
So there's your scenario. Now, as you keep monitoring the rearview mirror, you see that yellow and red speck is like a 1977 International Lodestar, right?
Oh,
with
it's a truck.
Grain truck, right? It's an old.
It's a grain hauler trying to make time. Those guys are psychotic. Some of them, not all of them. We've now witnessed both ends of the spectrum. Where we've met Farmer Fred, who was just taking his grain to market, and now we've got Farmer Fran here, who's got running his tractor trailer on nitro meth. And
well, it's one of those old internationals that it's the body style just after they started having they dropped the side opening hood. Right, Internationals is probably the last truck that still had a butterfly hood. Yeah. So this is the Lodestar model. Just after that, kind of a flat nose grill, short front end, not quite a cab over, but anyway,
you can hear it coming from 6 miles away.
Yes, and it's just a straight job grain truck with a big long.
Where's that
big long chassis
coming from?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What is that? It sounds strange. It sounds what is that? It's vaguely familiar yet ominous. And I realize that truck is not slowing down for me. No.
Nothing. Not the tractor, not the trees, nothing.
And then as he's approaching, he's still probably 500 yards out, maybe 800 yards out. He starts swerving into the left lane to get a look.
Yeah, he's trying to peek out around the tractor.
Right now, and at this point, we're on that sweeping right, so he's going to swing out. He's not going to see anything.
He's not going to see nothing but field.
So then he gets back in behind, and he's coming for me. And the problem is, where am I going? Right. So what do? The grain truck isn't slowing down.
Brace. That's about all you can do.
You're about to get sandwiched.
Yeah, because if you go left, you're hoping that there's no one coming. So if you go in the opposite lane, you're hoping no one's coming. He'll slam into the grain wagons and miss you entirely.
Right, but you're risking a collision of greater impact because it'll be head on, right? So
if you slow down, you can tap your brakes and try to get his attention and be like, "Hey, we're going slow,"
Right, which I did. I slowed down. Just give me a little break. Give me some distance between me and the vehicle and the grain wagon. Right, but not the grain truck. But the grain truck, I mean, he is barreling down.
He's probably got just the barest qualification of brakes.
Not even a hint of laying off the throttle.
No.
So
how would you do that?
What do you do?
I just said you brace. You tap the brakes, you brace, and you watch him, and you basically have to look in your mirror and out the windshield at the same time to try to figure out what the best solution is going to be.
And then if he's going to pound you in the back, then you need just the last minute exit strategy, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, whatever that. Maybe you turn towards, if the ditch isn't too steep, maybe you aim for that. So you don't get sandwiched. You get turned instead of getting pile drived into the back of the grain wagons. You start turning either towards the ditch or towards the oncoming lane, so you don't get sandwiched. You don't become a subcompact.
At this point, I think I would prefer risking a rollover to getting sandwiched between those two.
Yes, yeah, you definitely want to get out of his way, whether that's going down in the ditch, into the opposing lane, and in the ditch. Either way, you just want to get out of the way.
So here's what I did. As soon as I saw the guy duck out into the left lane to take a look, I was like, oh, shoot. So I look forward, and, other than where the grain wagons are in my forward vision, blocking that particular section of the oncoming lane, I can see the oncoming lane for quite a distance, after that, right?
Right.
So indeed, one of the things that made that guy tuck back in was truck came the other way and went by. And as soon as that truck went by, I started counting. I saw the truck in front of the tractor.
Yeah.
And counted how many seconds it took for it to disappear from my vision and then reappear again.
Probably
it was about 3-4
seconds.
It was about 3 seconds. Okay. So as soon as that truck went by, I'm still watching. Yeah, I got one eye in the rearview mirror and one eye down the road. So as soon as that truck went by and I kept watching, that was the only piece of traffic on that oncoming lane that I can see. So then I count 1001, 1002, 1003, and on 4, I swung out into the oncoming lane and floored it because I saw no other traffic coming in my right side vision from that, from where I could see the curve.
So the truck's clear. And no one's coming.
The only way that someone could have snuck in there is if we went by a side road and when I was temporarily blinded and then they pulled out, which is highly improbable. It was more probable I was going to get slammed by the grain truck, which, as it turns out, I would have, because here's what happened with the grain truck. So I made the right call. It was dicey, and it truly is it's the advanced class. Because if I'm not counting, if I'm not watching the traffic and then counting how many, and then no other traffic, and then counting 4 seconds, that's what I'm going to give it, right? You don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pull out and hit somebody.
Nope.
So I pull out, got around the tractor, no problem. And I just got back in the lane, and I look out, and that grain truck just swung out, didn't slow down an iota, and just came within, what looked like inches of being in a grain trailer, right?
You're becoming a third grain trailer.
Yeah. Well, and I'm like, okay, I'm not backing off. I cranked it up above the speed limit to make the pass, which that's a whole scenario in itself, right? What's safer?
Yeah, technically safer. Sometimes it is safer to go above the speed limit to make a pass in a dangerous situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're increasing your rate of pass versus a possible rate of closure.
I'm looking at this truck, and I'm like, this guy's, he must be in a big hurry. It must be about ready to close the elevator or something. But I'm not in a position.
He's really, really got to use the bathroom.
Something, right? I'm figuring he's got to go somewhere in a hurry. And
hair's
so
on fire. His wife's hair's on fire. Somebody's hair's on fire.
Yeah. So I'm just creating space, Gonna create some space. And I'm doing that, and I'm watching the rearview mirror. I'm watching ahead of me too, And no sooner does that guy, he pulls back in the lane, pulls in front of the tractor. He's coming up on me, so I'm giving it the beans to get ahead of him, stay ahead of him, and at least until I can find a place where I can pull off safe and just let him go, right?
Right.
Because that's my intent. Is let him go by, but let him go by safe.
Oh yeah, you definitely want that guy in front of you, not behind you.
All right. So guess what he does next?
Slams on the brakes and makes the left turn.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Into the field where they've got a combine running and all that. Like, what? And I wish I could have stayed. I think they still, like when I was a kid, I could drive the grain trucks and stuff, and at like 13 or something like that, right?
You're right. You could just wait. You could have stayed and waited to see if it was like a 12-year-old kid gets out.
Right.
Got wood blocks on the pedals.
Yeah, something like that, because it reeks of immaturity and inexperience.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it probably was. It was probably like a 17, 18-year-old kid.
Probably spent most of his time driving side-by-sides, And
right. Now he's driving the big, heavy grain truck like it's his car.
So the lesson from that, people, is watch out. It's farming season. You just got to be looking. Watch out. Just give yourself time. Give yourself that extra 15, 30 minutes to be and be willing to just park it and go, you know what? I'm good.
And also the speed limit on most roads in the United States is 55.
Right.
Not 75. 55.
55 plus your convenience factor.
Well, true, apparently, or whatever you feel like doing that day.
That's right.
It's 55. I am totally fine if you want to do 5 over. That's what I do most of the time.
Like it makes the math easy, right? A mile a minute. Right. 60 miles an hour is a mile a minute.
60 miles an hour is a mile a minute. If you're somewhere in between speed limit and 5 over, fine. Once you get to 10 over and above, which I have definitely been past at,
yes.
on U.S. routes and country roads, I have definitely been passed at the 25 plus over the speed limit rate.
Yeah.
You are creating issues that are non-issues if you are doing the speed limit. You are creating dangerous scenarios like that girl in the minivan.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming at her, you are now going way faster than you should be in that scenario. Or, vice versa. If you're the person passing, now you're creating a situation where the other person has to compensate for your stupidity and your recklessness
and your car
a major collision.
And it's really a testament to cars these days because they can do that and feel 100 miles an hour. You can feel like, nothing. But that doesn't mean you should be, because you got to be on your game to drive at those speeds. And
okay, we're getting away from the game show here.
That's right. So here we go. So scenario 3, you're driving down an interstate. Okay.
Okay.
And let's see what vehicle we want to be driving this time. Again, it happened to me. So, what vehicle do you want it to be?
I mean, we'll just keep with the cargo van.
Okay. Driving a cargo van.
Your answer changes based on the vehicle. If you're, depending on the situation,
let's say a Toyota Sienna.
Tanker,
you're driving a Toyota Sienna, right?
Okay.
Big, kind of high center of gravity, has some horsepower, comfortable, pretty average to above average mom vehicle. Okay.
Yeah, kind of wallowy in the corners, but it's pretty all right.
Yeah, but okay. I mean, you can make a bank getaway in it.
It's a minivan. It's not a it's a tank of a minivan, but it's still a
minivan. You're in lane 2, which is center lane, right?
The right lane. Well, okay, center lane. There's a 3-lane.
Lane 2. It's a 3-lane interstate, so it's a 6-lane divided. So
okay, see that's important because some of them are 4-lane divided, some of them are 6-lane divided. Lane 2 is usually the farthest right lane,
right?
Unless you're on a 3-lane, then that would be lane 3.
There's a lane 3, and coming up shortly is a lane 4 for the exit.
Oh.
Okay, and you're exiting. The exit is for a 2-lane highway, and it is because they have a very long lane 4 because a lot of people get off at that exit, and it backs up on the interstate while they're waiting for the traffic lights.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in lane 2, and in lane 3 is one of those double FedEx tractor trailer jobs.
Yeah,
a double. Okay, in lane 1. Coming up on your 6, switching rapidly to lane 1, is a little Toyota Corolla.
Okay.
And it might have been a Honda Civic, but whatever.
That kind of little Econo box of some sort.
Yeah, the little Econo box. And lane 4, you're already upon lane 4, and lane 4 is already backed all the way up the ramp, all the way back onto the interstate, solid cars, waiting to get off, and because there's a big thing that it happens all the time.
There's an event of some sort, or it's just Tuesday and it's 4 o'clock in the
afternoon. It's Tuesday, 4 o'clock, and everyone's going home, and there's several large subdivisions there with all residences in it, and the infrastructures can't quite handle it smoothly. So it's backed up on the interstate because it's that time. This car comes sweeping around on the left and then immediately aims for the exit because we're coming up to where the exit separates from the highway. We've been going along lane 4.
So you're coming up on the wedge.
Correct. Well, the Y where the end is off.
Yeah, the wedge. I call it the wedge because it makes a wedge. Your exit's going to go one direction, the highway's going to go the other. You've got a wedge or a pie. Of real estate there that's usually still paved but hashed off.
Right. And I don't know if my vehicle's proximity to the lane and to the vehicle traveling in lane 1 is blocking her vision, but whatever it is, she immediately barely clears me and aims for the Y, aims for the wedge, the exit.
Right, you're going to cut in at the last second to try to get off.
Right. She doesn't see
the doubles. She's already
whatever.
The FedEx doubles.
Now the guy driving the FedEx doubles is already off the throttle, and you can hear his Jake brake.
Yeah,
because he's looking over my roof.
He's
going,
already seen this happening and going, uh-oh.
Yeah.
He saw that a mile ago and went, I'm not going to be part of that.
She aims right for the thing. She probably lives that way and probably does it. She should know better that backs up. But all of a sudden she realizes there's nowhere for her to stop her car because that entire lane, not only is it backed up, but you know how people do that. I'm more important than you are, and they break ranks in the line and try to get up and merge in the last second.
Right, so they're sitting in that safety zone.
Yeah.
They're sitting
so
there.
There's effectively a fifth lane of traffic formed that really isn't a lane. So there's nowhere for her to go. So she slams on the brakes, making the back end of the car go completely light. And again, maintenance, if those tires are worn down or not properly rotated, not properly inflated, what happens is what happened, and that is the car does a 180, pivoting on the front wheels. Exactly. The rear end lands.
It passes itself.
Yeah. And the rear end lands, and she's headed right back out to lane 2 where you're traveling. What do you do? Now,
hard brakes.
In this scenario, the FedEx truck has successfully braked out of your way. you could safely make a lane change to lane 3. And she's coming for lane 2. You could theoretically make a lane change to lane 1.
Lane 3, always head for the crash.
Head for the crash. Exactly right. You win again. Exactly what I did. I had no time to move my foot. It happened I was kind of like listening to the radio and all that. It was stupid, but I should have been covering the brake. I should have had my foot off the gas and moved it over, ready to press the brake. And I don't know why I wasn't covering the brake. I taught that, I practiced that, but it might have been, for whatever reason, my reflex was not to cover the brake and slam on the brake.
Sometimes you're just not thinking about it.
All I did was steer for where I saw her car spin around and head for me.
Yep. NASCAR rules, head for the crash.
And we passed each other, and I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me just absolutely terrified. He's like, you're headed right for me. Why are you turning for me? And she went right by and still on the brakes. And she stopped. I was watching the mirror, of course, and I straightened out in lane 3 and then went back to lane 2 again. And she stopped just short of the K-rail. No damage other than maybe needing a new seat and underwear.
And she's going to need new underwear.
And back up and then turned herself around and then came back, on the road. Nobody hit her.
And then went down to another exit and turned around and came back and made her life way easier. Listen, people, if you're going to miss your exit and you are in the far left lane, safely
missed the exit.
Make your way over. You've already missed it. If you are not in the right lane at least a half mile before your exit, you've missed your exit. Get over it.
Yep, that's right.
Doesn't matter. I got to be behind this slow semi-truck. I got to be behind this other slow car. But if I'm within a mile or mile and a half of my exit, I will not get out of the right lane until I hit my exit. It is safer. It is time, and it will save you much stress and headache, and probably save your life one day.
Yeah. So that concludes our driving safety scenarios for
today. That's our driving safety episode.
It's it. So, but it doesn't conclude all the safety tips, however.
Oh, we got more safety tips.
I do.
Always put your knives in dishwasher, point down. Never microwave tinfoil.
Unless you want big boom.
Well, at least lots of sparks.
Lots of sparks, and then if there's something in there with it,
you might get a boom.
This pertains to Jack in the Box. You go to Jack in the Box, right?
I've been to Jack in the Box, yes.
Yeah. So this is an important safety tip for you. Oh. Okay. So here's the scenario.
Don't get the tiny tacos.
Guys in the drive-through, right? And there's you already illustrated the Jack in the Box kind of zombie mentality that goes on over there, right?
It's not zombie. They're not mindless. They're just dead inside. There's a difference.
Okay, so here's what happens. This is ripped right from the news. Guy's waiting. He's in a red pickup at the drive-thru, and there's some kind of discourse going on about the order, right? It can't be about politics, but it's the order. It's got to be the order. You can't. There's no audio, but.
There's a lot of gesticulating and yelling.
There's a lot, right, on both sides. There's the large woman in the red shirt, and they're yelling back and forth. And finally, his order gets thrown at him. Right? Now, what's amazing, there's a couple of things that are amazing. One of them being it lands in the open window of the truck. So,
excellent.
Our order person actually hit a basket. Right, because 3 points from the 3-point line, right into the window of the truck.
10 from the Russian judge is what that is.
It is. So then the guy picks up the order, throws it right back, and makes it mostly the order disintegrates. Right, so the bag or whatever.
Those bags can really only take being thrown once, maybe twice.
So. It's the scattergun approach. Some of it makes it in the open drive-through window, some of it, and then the woman slams the window shut, And so then there's more gesticulating. And another woman comes over, bigger and badder than the first one.
Wow.
And then there's more going on back and forth. And there's hand waving and whatnot. And the second woman reaches in her waistband, and what do you think she does?
Pulls out a gun, probably.
Yes. Pulls out a gun. and goes
Because
all.
if it's anything else, I don't want to know.
She goes all vanilla ice on him.
Pops a cap in his honky behind.
Several, and the guy sees it. He's like, "Oh crap!" Floors it, gets out of takes off. Fortunately, there's nobody waiting there. Like, "Sir, pull ahead. We'll bring your order out." Because he would have,
please pull ahead.
Right? You would have punted. I would have too. I would have like, "Oh," and so she's following the truck with her aim, continuing to fire as he's making his escape.
Well, are we going to witness some Darwin Awards here?
I don't. All I know is I don't know if I'm stomping a Jack in the Box, and certainly not.
Don't argue with the staff.
You don't argue,
and you're gonna like it. That's it.
Or you complain to corporate, right? You don't call, and you don't call the sheriff. You don't call 311 or 311, 911, 3 alarm, code 3 response because you'd order just things on the receipt. Deal with it that way. Use the contact information. Move along. Don't get dead. Oh, that food's to die for. I know. Someone did last week. And speaking, it's probably a good time to say, so long.
Adios.
Yeah,
farewell.
Bring this thing to it. Bring this thing back to port. Yes.
Yeah, park it.
So thanks for everybody listening. Hope you enjoyed the safety tips.
Hopefully you can make sense of this episode, because I sure can.
I got you in a 412 too. A 412? What's a 412? Overacting. Let's go.
I had jokes to get out. All right.
Did you? Did you get them out?
Yes. No.
Out of your system?
No, they're all building up. They're all getting wedged in a certain area. Yeah.